Hello and welcome to another tips and tricks for Infinity Siege. This is going to be stuff ranging from the advanced stuff to some of the more basic stuff you may not know. I promise there'll be something here for you. If you do know these tips that I'm going through, just skip the chapters. That will really help find the precise thing that you may not know. And thank you to everyone who provided the comments from the last tips and tricks. I've definitely implemented some of that in this video just so we can share it with the whole community. So I really appreciate those kind of comments. If you do have any more tips, definitely drop us a comment and I'll try and include that into the next video. If you do get anything out of this, please help me out. Give me a like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. There is a lot of weight. Anyhow, I'm Sin Killer. Thanks for joining me. Let's get into this. Tips and tricks, volume 2 or 3. Let's do it. So what I want to illustrate in this example or this tip is how we can throw off the apostles that attack you in the hardlands. Or technically this would work on any map, but the way apostles work in general or for the most part is they will always attack the first structure to their spawn or to where they are. So for example, if we have one spawn over here where this miner is, it's going to attack the miner first. However, if there wasn't a miner there, it would then attack one of these two towers. So there's a few methods of dealing with the apostles in this way. So you can always just make sure you have buildings in front, so they would target those, but you can take it a step further. In these maps, particularly this map, your Hardlands Desert, if you put a miner here and you have the railgun guy spawn, the railgun apostle spawn, and he will try attack this miner, but the railgun laser is going to hit this fallen over building and not actually do any damage, so he won't be able to destroy this. So he'll just get stuck trying to fire on this miner without ever moving forward, and allows you to attack and kill him way before he ever does anything meaningful. But we can take this a step further. So what we can do, and this goes for pretty much all the apostles, is we can kind of cheese it a bit where we put a wall or something in a really random spot, say for example here, or potentially even further. Like if you can get it, you can get them kind of under here, you can get them under the bridge almost. So that's really going to trip them up because he's going to try target this wall that's under him and obviously not be able to kill it. Now some of the other units may be able to get down there and kill that, so keep in mind you have to be mindful that if they do get destroyed, that plan's failed. But you can do things like this where you would set off there where you can sort of misdirect them to attack things they can't actually hit by placing objects in unusual places. For instance, under this bridge, there's a spot you can put it. If I can find it, to somewhere like here. You could also try put them on the side of this building. So you can mess around and see how this works. But we're going to I'm going to try show you now what I mean by the apostles will attack whatever's in front of them first. And this will really help if you're finding that they're railgunning your core really quickly or they're just causing too much havoc. You can use these methods to get them to target other things first. Just the general rule of thumb though is they'll always attack what's in front of them first. Just a quick tip before we move on. Remember, you can place buildings anywhere in the hardlands. So keep that in mind when you're going to utilize certain buildings that you can pop up, is you can build them on top of some of these structures. There we go. So we have the railgun, and see how he is trying to target something that's under him. He's directly targeting down here. So he's trying to hit that little concrete pillar that we put down there, and he's just going to get stuck on that. And it'll be the same for this one over here. If we scoot over here, he's trying to hit the one under him. So keep that in mind. You can really distract these big scary guys, the apostles, just by doing something as simple as placing an object under the bridges. So a really handy tip if you're really struggling. This will help you get through some of these more difficult areas and get away with a lot more loot than you normally would, because you can utilize something like this. So this next tip is to do with this crazy contraption that we covered before. Now, remembering that this is something you would attach to your core to get power. Now one thing I neglected to mention is that you have to throw the ball, which we'll go grab in a second, into this contraption. And the further you are away from this contraption when you lob that ball, if it goes in and you're really far away, you'll get more power. But if you're really close to it and just slam dunk it, you're going to get very minimal power. So the best thing to do is to just throw the ball in here from a very high distance. I mean, potentially you could just throw it from the roof even, but the further you are away from it and you get the ball in, the more power it will charge. So just keep that in mind. That was something I missed in the other quick tips. Now this leads me to the next tip, which is really cool, because what you can do with this thing is if you have locations on the map that require a battery to get into, so this thing here, this terminal, you know what we can do? We can actually slam this thing on this, because if we go to look at this now, we can't get in. I mean, there is the top, but you need a key card to get into this from memory. Sometimes, I can't remember if it's all the time, but sometimes you might need a key card, or always. base. But what we're going to do is now we're going to slam this ball in. We're going to throw this ball in from a far distance, probably just from the roof, and see if we can get enough charge in order to actually get that door open from the terminal, because we've supplied power, not using a battery, but using that crazy thing. So let's do that. Now remember, the hammer, aka the ball, is normally found on tower directly above this bad boy. So what we want to try to do is we want to try get it into there. So we want to jump off and throw it in. See if we get it in. Okay, we got it in. Okay, so see how it's... Oh, shit, there we go. So we've got quite a bit of power there. So now we'll go see if we can open this door using... Oh, and the plug fell off. There we go. So the terminal has been activated and we're able to get into this door, which I've already come through and unlocked through the roof. But just so you know, you can use these extension cords to open some doors, particularly the terminal. I haven't tested in all the different scenarios, but this is just another tip for you. If you're out of ideas, you can use the electromagnetic plug to open terminals. This next tip is pretty impractical, but just a little bit of fun, something you probably didn't know you could do, or maybe you didn't, or you do. But what you can do is you can jump on your mule and then use this method to actually get around the map and sort of transport you around. So you can kind of control your pack and yourself, which can be really good for those maps where there aren't enemies and you want to get around somewhere. If we do a jump, we're still attached. We hang on for our dear lives and we glue to it. So it's a really interesting and funny way to get around. And you can see here we're doing the command thing. And yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Really cool way to get around in certain situations. I don't know how practical this will be in many other things, but just thought I'd share this. You can get around on your mule. It's so good. And a little bit of here, we just want to do a kickflip, maybe a bit of a grind. Yeah, pretty nice. The other thing that we're going to add on to this for the next tip for the mule is in the last tutorial, I was saying you cannot use waypoints, but the trouble is you can. But what happens is if you hold shift and you try to do waypoints, it does work. You just don't see the lines drawn. It just, you click and you will assume by holding shift that it's going to go to those different locations that you've clicked. So keep in mind, you can waypoint your pretty much everything, all your different type of units, all the way down to your mechs. Even your mechs, you can do the same thing. You can use waypoints, from my understanding. So another good tip there with the mule. Now this next thing is like a bit of a tip, a bit of a way to get around, but I don't know how practical it is, but it's just something fun you can try yourself. So if you grab one of your it's called CIWS, however you want to say that. If you grab one of those and hit jump and then fire, you can basically use it to get around the map really, really quickly. And it's a really, really fun way. It's almost like a little jetpack. It can be useful for getting drones or like particular things that are a little bit hard to get to. But you can absolutely rock around the map with this thing. There's pretty good applications for this, I would find, I reckon. And again, after we're done, we can just attach it. So we can just say we'll fire it straight down. Look at this. Look how high we can get. Oh, we've hit the ceiling. There you go. But what a cool and fun way to get around. You can absolutely smash this and you can pretty much fly. Now, you could also like mix this with some levitation boots, which would be kind of interesting to see. That'd be a pretty dangerous situation. You could get your levitation boots and just get around the map like pretty much in God mode and just have no issues getting to some of the heights. So there are some really good applications for this that just came to mind just then. In some of the maps, you have to get schematics or blueprints, I should say, on top of buildings. There's a few ways to get them, but this would be a really good way to go and grab them. So keep that in mind. If you need to get on top of something that's really high, use one of these. I'm just going to give you an example. I can't get up here, or maybe I can, but it's going to take a little bit of finesse. I can't double jump, so how else can I get up there? Well, let's use that new trick that we've just been looking at. Let's just load up good old faithful. Then we're going to detach and then we're gonna fly. We're gonna head down over to where we need to get to. Now it's gonna be a little bit of a finesse. It's definitely a really cool way to get around. Try not to run out of ammo. I'm gonna hop over there because this is a blueprint that I might not otherwise be able to get. There you go. See how cool is that? Really nice way to get things, and you can also then use this thing to fire. Just keep in mind that it's got such good kickback that it's really kind of hard to use because it'll push you back. Now this next tip is pretty much just standard functionality, but it's very, very new. So if you do have the pack mule, see this this right in here. If you click on this, it's going to tell the pack mule to go chuck this into your base. So it's gone. And if we go check on our base, which is really neat, we will see that it's delivered all that stuff that we can't carry ourselves to our actual core. So really, really, really neat functionality. So now we can really utilize the mule like never before. We can ride on it like a skateboard, and then we can also, use it to send stuff on missions. So we can be going and grabbing stuff, filling the mule up, and then getting it, sending it straight back. And it's going to do that running back and forth between the base and the points of interest for you. So no longer should you have to return to base. If you need to get something there like a part of the mission, or you just full on inventory, use a mule, get it to go back and empty. And they've programmed it pretty well because it just needs to get in any kind of vicinity to the base, and it's going to get that stuff in there for you. A really neat feature. It's not necessarily a tip, but I just wanted to highlight this fact because it's a really, really cool functionality. So one thing to note though, with the mule and using it to get things to the destination, it does appear that mission objectives can't be placed in him at this point in time. So keep that in mind. You'll have to deliver those yourself, but everything else you can definitely throw and give him, and he will go deliver that. So we'll go deliver, we'll go to deliver items, or like send it to the base, and then he's already gone and done it. So we look at this, he's already transported it. So it's like an instant transport. Pretty damn cool, but keep in mind he can't do the mission component, so something to keep in mind. But it's so quick, you can just boom and going. So I don't know if it's because he's stuck, but you'll definitely see people using mules a lot more. Super handy. Another tip for your guardians is if you just press Alt, it's going to select all the guardians you have. So just keep that in mind. It's a really nice, easy way to select all the guardians and probably your mechs as well. You'll have a great time just pressing Alt. Makes it very nice and easy just to select them at any point. Okay, this next tip is super simple, but it's absolutely game changing. And I can't believe I didn't know this before, but if you hold down R, it is going to bring up the selection to pick the different type of ammo that you have in your inventory. So if you have 4 different type, say cryo, I can switch to the cryo. I can switch to pyro then, and easily just do it on the fly using R. I can't believe what a good little way to do it. That's how it was always meant to be, I guess. But so in the past, I'd been going tapping G, clicking on it, then holding G, and then being able to go. But now we can just go R, douche, and it will reload automatically just in a click of a button, eliminating so much of that process beforehand where you'd have to manually do it. So really, really good tip. Might have known that already, but I didn't, so I thought I'd share that. R to change ammo from now on. Okay, so this next tip is a very tight time frame kind of tip. So what we got to do is when you first get into any of your tool modes or you land on your level, like right now, what we have is we have a 2-minute window to access the terminals that you find around the game. See if we have any on this map. Yes, we have one where you can access these, comm stations, what was I calling them? If we can quickly run, I'll see if we have one over here. Yep, we do. So this bad boy, it's the other way. So what we're going to do is when you load into a map, quickly, if you want to conserve energy, you want to quickly grab these guys because this is going to be free for 2 minutes. Oh shit. These things are free. So all your comm stations for the first 2 minutes on every time you load into a new location, if you activate them within the first 2-minute window, they are free. There's a couple ways to know that they are free. I think there will be some indication on visually that will identify that it's free, and after 2 minutes it will change. I'll see if we can capture that in the next level. Okay, so we're on to the next level. We're going to quickly find another one of those buildings where we can check to get it free. We're going to quickly head over there just so I can show you the indicators to let you know if you're still within that 2-minute window. We'll wait till the 2-minute time comes just so you can clearly see in this example that after 2 minutes you will have to pay price to activate the comm stations, whereas if you do this quickly you get it all for free. So what I just realized is there's actually a timer on the actual terminal. So if you look closely, you can see the number here, and that's counting down the window of opportunity to access these comm stations for free. So there you go. A little bit of detail I never really paid attention to. So that's really cool. It gives you a time. So we'll just wait till this ends. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. No, okay. And then you can see it charges you 10 power to access the comm station. Neat little touch there. So many little things like this in the game. Absolutely outstanding. Nothing better than a free comm station. So for this next tip, this is a really, really helpful tip. It just does require time, but basically this will make your touring very, very simple or easier to make long, crazy tours, because what we can basically do is we can use lumber to create infinite power and material. So the way this works is with trees, it costs 6 power, 6, 7 power, depending on the tree from memory, and you'll get 40 material and 3 lumber. So what this means is we can then head over back to our base, which we'll do in a second. We'll just grab another. And just for an example, look look on the left hand side, you'll see the material will get a plus 40. Awesome. So we're getting material, which we can then use to convert material to power. From our command mode, we can convert our material into 30 power, which is great. 120 seconds. We could also go to our generators and we can convert 150 resources into 15 power. So that's another way. But what we basically do is take this lumber that we've spent energy on harvesting, and we head back to the base and we head over to our power converter. And what we can do is we can dismantle this lumber and we'd get 30. So we get pretty much all the power we used to get this wood we've just gotten back, because we're going to dismantle it at the end of this run. So we're going to get all the power we used to chop all those trees, which we use the materials to then convert to power from your core and from your generators. So in theory, you can run around and go and harvest all the different trees, use all that material, convert it to power, and then you can put that lumber into your dismantler, convert it all back to power, and basically get free unlimited material, which you can use to convert to power. Just a little tip, this may really help you extend your touring possibility. It just takes more time. But if you have a few of you, it's a really good tip. So definitely consider playing around with your lumber, dismantling, and using the material to convert to power. This next tip is very simple, straightforward, but one that I was really trying to figure out how to do it, because I was really hoping that they included this functionality, and it's just a simple split. If you want to split things in Infinity Siege, you just need to hover your mouse over the object you want to split, press Alt, drag that, and drop it into another space in your inventory, and then you can choose the split ratio or how much you want to split it by. So this was something that I was not sure about how to do, so this might help you, might not, but I didn't know how to do this. But it's a really handy thing to be able to split your bullets, your ammo, whatever you need to do. You can split it, and then if you need to just combine it back, you just click on it, put it back into the same object that you're trying to combine it to, and there you go. So really simple but very effective way to split your inventory in those crucial times you need to. Now this one you probably may know, but just in case you don't, if you go ahead and detach your turrets and you use them to fire and then you throw them away, or you use all the ammo and you throw them away by pressing Q, depending on what buttons it has for you. But what you can do is you used all the ammo, and then you can just ditch it, and then when you load into your next area, it will be attached again. So just so you know, you can detach your turrets and then use them as you will, throw them on the ground. Next level, they will respawn in their place. Do keep in mind though, if you use all that ammo and you load into the next level, they will actually show that you've used that ammo from the previous level, if that makes sense. So basically you can use them as you like, you can throw them, but whatever ammo you've used, that will be reflected in the next level. Just something to note. This next tip I was going to cover in the next build guide, but we will touch on this right here, is the use of Titan Spikes. So Titan Spikes pretty much do bugger all damage to enemies. But what they can do though is they can increase your core output. So here we have the example. We have 1233 core output, and what we can do is we can click on all of our Titan Spikes and we can go charge mode, which doesn't seem to work if you click charge mode on them at 2 at a time. So let's try that again. Yeah, okay. So you can only hit charge mode 1 at a time. You might be able to just keep hitting X when they're all selected, but note that we've increased the core output to 1283. So you get an extra plus 10 core output when you change your Titan Spikes. So just a little tip, if you need to increase your core output, which is going to boost again your X boost field, which grants a higher level of defense, it increases the damage that your tower does, it increases the X boost range, it expands the container space, and it enhances the defense of the operatives. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Your Titan Spikes can be better served as power boost to your core output. The next tip, we're just going to look at a new feature. I believe this is fairly new because I did not notice this before. It could be old, but now when you click on your towers, you can actually see their range. Now, what is cool is if we change the range in our config, it will actually now reflect and give us a true indication of what the range is. So very handy. I really like this feature and absolutely perfect for this. Now we can clearly see the range of our towers and what we set them to. They do update dynamically. So huge success on these updates, a lot of cool new functionality, and that's just one of the things I wanted to mention. Now, just another tip with the Guardians that is really cool that I didn't realize you could do is down on the bottom very right of your screen, when you select them, you actually have an option to use patrol, move, follow, or stop and guard. So we can hit patrol, and that is going to set them up to patrol an area. So they'll move back and forth. So you could clear like a waypoint to a certain area, and they're going to move back and forth to that area. What you can also do is hit patrol and hit shift, and it's going to do multiple areas, multiple waypoints. So really neat function. So remember, you can hit P, shift, multiple waypoints, then just click it on something else or declick it, and then it would just go repeat that process. Now, it doesn't look like you can do it on both at the same time. Let's just double check that if that's the case. Yeah, so for whatever reason, oh, there we go. It is working. Okay, so you can select multiple and then get them to both patrol. Really neat little feature here that could be really handy in certain situations. We also have this other command called move and follow. So we can hit follow and then we can select the target that we want it to follow. So just like you would in the other example where you'd go up to it and click follow, now you can get it to follow you just by clicking it. And if we go find ourselves in here, we're inside the building. I've just walked outside this building just so you can have an example. But we can click these guys as long as we just have only the guardians selected. So instead of us having to walk up to our drones, our guardians, follow, we can now just select them, hit N, click on us, and they should follow us around. Let's just see if it worked. Yep, and now they're following me. So no longer do you need to worry about going back to them. We can use the command down here on the right-hand side. The other thing we have is we have a guard option. So we can also put them in guard mode, and they're just going to guard this area that they're in. There's some really neat little functionality there for the guardians. Definitely be using this a lot more now that I'm more aware of it. Do note just while we're here, you can press as well. You have these two other quick shortcuts. We can go G to display our base, which will just rotate around. We can do stuff while we're in this mode. Then we can just press G again and it takes us back to where the camera was previously. Very nice little function there just to get between the base and yourself when you're in command mode. So you can just go straight into command mode, hit G, and you're at your base and you can start mucking around with it. Alternatively, you can go into command mode and press F, and that is going to center around your tower. So say we're over here and we press F, it's going to take us to our tower. But I reckon the best way to do this is just going caps lock and using G, because that is going to rotate between your previous camera state to your control tower, your base basically. So just mention that, you might know this one.